What's up, guys? How are you? It's me, Hebot. Welcome back. I'm gonna do a quick video. I saw a video. Big shout outs to my brother, Unlimited Production 1. Go check out his channel. Go check out his video. He does really good content, and you know he does a lot of good talking points. You know, and he's up and coming and he's growing. You know, but he's a good dude, Xbox guy, and he speaks from the heart. He's a true gamer, collector, you know, and advocate for gaming as a whole and for Xbox, because he speaks with a lot of sense and common knowledge and knows, you know, the difference between reality and stupidity, right? Or ignorance, right? For lack of a better term. Now, I want to do a quick video talking about a video that Dustin legarie did, speaking about why is it controversial to, you know, to like Xbox. And I don't think it's so much controversial. It's more about the fact that, you know, Sony fans have been conditioned, right, since 2013 by big media outlets, especially, right, to just placate to their ignorance, their hate, their fandom towards one set company. And a lot of times they really don't know the truth. They don't know the differences. They're misinformed, or they like to misinform people, their audience, people that follow them, whether it's on social, on YouTube, right, and those type of platforms, or Instagram. And people that came from that generation, when the generation started, last gen, with Xbox, right, in 2013, the Xbox came out of their most successful generation they ever had, right, with the Xbox 360. And although they try to say numbers are different, because at the end of the day, the PlayStation 3 sold a little more than the 360, right, they never speak about how that was not indicative of the truth of what happened, right? Because the sales surpassed 360 because the 360 was not big in a lot of countries, like Japan, for example. And PlayStation 3 was, right? And did much better, right? Because that's what they bought. Because it's a Japanese console, it's synonymous with their you know, their country, just like Nintendo's consoles. So they support those consoles before they support the Xbox console, right? And it's been like that for many, many years. Just like, you know, in the UK, a lot of areas where people just cater to PlayStation for whatever reason. And so that generation, the 360 really destroyed the PlayStation and really demolished it in a lot of ways. In sales, you know, selling 8 games to one console sold, you know, which the ratio is, you know, 8-1 versus 1-1 with the PS3, for example, right? And the fact that the console was selling for more expensive price, because the Xbox 360 had a core system for $300 and the bigger Elite console for $400. The PS3 started off with a really high price point because they were very arrogant coming in from the PS2 era, because they had no competition. There was nothing really there. And they sold in high numbers because they were the casual console, which they still are today. So they were very upset. A big part of that fan base were very upset. They were hungry. They were mad because Microsoft proved that they were able to get dethroned, right? And they had money to fight back. They weren't Sega, they weren't Nintendo, that didn't have the type of deep pockets, and competed in their own right, but never to the level where they can just buy out everybody the way that Sony's been doing since the PlayStation 1 era, right? So their fan base was ready and dying to get into the PS4 era. And once the media, right, started pushing because of Microsoft saying that they were going to have DRMs, you couldn't really play used games, that you had to wait 30 days to share them with friends, and that, you know, those type of things that for the vision that they were trying to do, which Sony had the same idea because Yoshida himself, you know, admitted it. But when they saw the backlash Microsoft got on stage, they retracted it because they were like on stage maybe 10, 11 hours later that night, that evening, and completely changed it, took out the camera and made it seem like they were going to sell it like a core system, and the console was going to be only $400 and did a $400 price point as opposed to $500, which was the Xbox the way they originally intended, right? So they went along, and the media was the first one. When places like IGN, I remember they had like Greg Miller, right? He jumped on the table, going crazy. Yeah, you know, going because they started saying this is how we play used games, and throwing shots at Xbox from their you know, keynote earlier that day. And Microsoft quickly retracted, changed it, and never did it. It never happened, right? And throughout the whole generation, it became, you know, the clickbait formula, where everything they did was to get the views from the haters, the Sony fanatics, to piss off Xbox guys to come over to see what's going on and have something to say, to get them aggravated and angry by always putting those headlines with Xbox videos that were mainly hate videos, because the Xbox got unwarranted hate that the reality of it is they did not deserve, because they fixed everything they needed to fix, still brought out great games, right, of all kinds. No, they didn't bring out as much AAA budget games, but brought out a lot of games with a lot of quality, a lot of great gameplay, a lot of great substance, story, and that were phenomenal, right? And we saw with games like Sea of Thieves and State of Decay, you know, that they had a long shelf life and had a lot of active users and gamers, right? Even though they were swearing up and down that they weren't going to do well because they didn't look appealing enough, or because they weren't photorealistic or movie style quality games, right? With that movie style feel and look, right? Even though video games always been about a great experience with fun factor, you know, with engagement, playing together as friends, right? Online, socially, locally, and the fact that it's just a good game is a good game. It doesn't matter if it looks photorealistic or if it looks like a 8-bit sprite game like Shovel Knight, and you saw how successful Shovel Knight was, right? So that became the conditioning last generation for the entire generation for all Sony fans. And people like Justin, that also was at Podcast Unlocked, and even Ryan McCaffrey, although they were sworn to, you know, say we're Xbox guys, they never fought back with teeth and nails with all the right formula and answers to rebuttal the stupidity or the ignorance or the misinformation that was always spread. They kind of sat back, laid back, and defended it the best that they could, but still threw shade indirectly themselves, right? Even though they called themselves real Xbox fans. Instead of fighting back, being a real representative, whether there were ups and downs, that's with anything in life, any company, any business, and talking about the good talking points at all times, and not let no one sway them away from that, and keep on being pro-positive Xbox. The way that a lot of smaller channels, like, E-Rock and Sega Forever and Sega Man and 100 and Ghost Rider and Kaleidoscope and myself and Jay Long and New Legal. A lot of us that, Tuck Master and Master Chief, we were, fighting that good fight because we knew what they were doing. We saw what they were doing. We weren't blinded by the shill and sheep mentality. We actually knew what when we were able to see what was really going on, what they were really trying to do, what they were trying to build, buying new studios, doing things like xCloud, buying all these wonderful software companies and saving Minecraft and saving Gears of War and doing adaptive controllers to make gaming more unified with even people with disabilities. All kinds of wonderful things, right? Buying, Simply Gone, having big stakes in the SCUF market with their controllers, with SCUF for the competition scene. A lot of things that Microsoft did, right? That were absolutely positive. And a lot of things they did for developers, like Respawn with Titanfall, like Dead Rising 3 with Capcom, like Cuphead with Moon Studios, like Ori with Moon Studios, and then Cuphead with Studio MDHR, and even Tomb Raider, helping Crystal Dynamics alongside with Square Enix to create the next Rise of the Tomb Raider, completely funding it, completely publishing it, and marketing it, and everything. Because it wasn't going to be made. It was almost possible. The possibilities of it being made were very slim. They were thinking about making it and considering about making it, episodic, to buy it in pieces. And they did so many things that people didn't ever concentrate on. Instead, they concentrated on the stupidity, like the size of the console, which this generation, PS5 is humongous. And the generation before that, on PS3, it was the biggest console as well. Things like the power brick, when Microsoft did it to, overcompensate for the mishaps of the 360 with the Red Rings of Death, because it was very expensive and costly for them. So they were afraid of that happening all over again. So they compensated to make sure that power surge protected it. They made fun of that. Then it was the resolution. That games didn't have the right resolution, even though they have the best upscalers. And you couldn't see any disparities unless you played on a TV screen that was 55-inch or bigger, because the sprites or the polygons spread out so much that's when you see some type of distortion in comparison to the PS4, because it was doing a lot of games multiply in 1080p. But then we find out also that they had an ESRAM that could have been utilized and used to make the games all run, even the multi-plat, parity. But developers chose not to, because it was more work and it wasn't the leading platform, wasn't selling as much as PS4, right? And they proved that with Destiny 1, and they proved that with Diablo, when they sent in people from Xbox, the engineers and developers, to help them get it to 1080p 60 or 1080p 30 on both platforms. But Microsoft couldn't keep doing that with every single developer. So developers just chose and opted not to learn the ESRAM. So that's why they opted to do a mid-gen cycle console and made it more powerful to deal with that issue about the so-called it's not powerful enough. And then they slimmed it down as well. So they made the Sony fanatics and fan base conditioned to hate everything Xbox. So now when a gentleman like Dustin, even though he may be genuine, and even though he seems very genuine, even though he seems like a really nice guy, now that he knows they can't just make fun of Xbox, because it has a lot of good publicity and press, and they're doing just phenomenal things, it's the best value for your buck, the most powerful console, the most option, the most consumer friendly, because you buy the console and you really just buy Game Pass, and right off the back, day one, you have access to all the exclusives, day and date. and whatever else is there, which is almost at 350 games already or more. Even EA Ultimate is included with that, right? Or Access. And you can't do that with PlayStation, even though if you get their PSN now, it's not at the same level, right? They don't have their exclusive day and date. They don't have all these first-party games coming out day and date that are multi-plats. They don't have the structure that it's all streamed. I mean, all playing through dedicated servers instead of streamed. Which only they adapted that with the PS4 games as time went on, later and late in the generation. And even when they did their mid-gen cycle console, it wasn't at the same level as the Xbox One. So, when guys like him now want to actually do something different, be more positive, because they know it's the right thing to do, and as gamers, it's their obligation and it's their responsibility to be truthful to their audience instead of building more lies. Now, it's impossible for you guys to do it because you adapted and conditioned those people that followed you to just do what everybody else was doing, which was hate on Xbox and make everything a controversy or a problem when it came to Xbox, even when it didn't need it, or when it wasn't, or when it was being taken out of proportion or blown out of proportion. All these things that they did throughout the whole generation. So now that they're trying to do it differently, like in this case with Justin, they can't. And they're seeing the toxicity and hate from the people that are angry at them, because now they feel the threat that Microsoft still making more money. Microsoft can still fight back, buying all these wonderful studios, right, that are big and small. They're going to have a plethora of games coming down the road, little by little. So there's no way that Microsoft is going anywhere. You can't get rid of them. And their threat is, can Sony continue to sustain the fight, having smaller pockets and less diversity and less options? Because then it's going to become something where it's going to feel the same. It's going to start to plateau. And their pockets are not going to be able to fight back, because if they don't have the money, they can't fight on the same level, which is why they're trying other outsources, like putting their games now on PC like Microsoft did last gen, which that made it into a comical banter where Xbox has no games because you can play them on PC when a PC is not a console. And even though I feel bad for him, because he is a nice person, he comes off as genuine, and he's doing positive things, and he represents gaming at a higher level as far as his outlet, right? I don't really feel sorry for him, because you made your bed, now you have to lay on it. And the way you deal with it is like all of us did, all the smaller YouTubers that continue to be positive, that we continue to always say, no, it's about Xbox. Xbox is doing right. This is wrong. This is being taken out of proportion. And all they did was troll us, disrespect us, call us slaves, corporate slaves, shills, and even disrespect us to the point where they would say things about family and meme us and put disgusting things. I had people on social media say that I'm a child molester, that I do coke, and people laughed about it and thought it was funny on that side, on the PlayStation side. And then when I defended myself, I got, reprimanded for it or kicked out for it on Twitter, because they went and cried like little kids and complained because I defended myself, and they didn't like what I said because I destroyed them in the conversation without even being nasty, or they just couldn't outsmart me, right? To show their ignorance and how childish they are. So I'm glad that Justin and other outlets that are bigger and have a bigger platform are starting to do the right thing and make it about games and gaming, and give props on all sides or whenever they, where they deserve it. But at the same time, it almost feels hypocritical because the only reason they're doing that is because in order for them to maintain as a point of conversation, they need to start going with where the crowd is going as well. Because we have a lot of guys that were on PlayStation that jumped ship over the stupid popularity because it was the cool thing to do, that are now trying to jump ship back to Xbox because they see that it's the better value and the better place to play and be, because it's a lot of fun and it's very consumer friendly and it's about gaming. Like when they try to say Microsoft was about entertainment and movies when they took that out. They never made the Rise TV series, they never made the Forza series, they never did any of that stuff. Meanwhile, on PlayStation Land, they had the show Powers exclusive to their PSN network, and it was 2 seasons. Which that's entertainment, right? Meanwhile, all their games feel more like movies than they do actual games. Go figure. So, I can't understand why you acting, or he's acting, for example, like he doesn't get it, when he knows why. He understands why. If you don't, Justin, then this is the reason why. You're trying to do the right thing now, which you should have been doing long ago, all the outlets, and now because you adapted that viewer base, you know, those customers, so to speak, and conditioned them, now you can't just change it. Now you got to take the heat, and now you got to take the negativity that comes with it. The same way that the true Xbox fans that never swayed the other way and kept on with focus with positive Xbox had to deal with the entire last gen, which they're still trying to push this gen. Still trying to look for reasons to try to say that Xbox is still garbage when it's not. It never was. Even last generation. It was the most redefining console in gaming history. It redefined everything. From being in last place to earning back its respect. Which is very hard to do. Just ask Atari. Just ask Nintendo with the Wii. It's very hard to do. Or even the Wii U for that matter. Ask PlayStation with the PS3. They were thirsty because they were hurting. They were angry because the 360 wiped the floor with the PS3. And the only reason, like I said, that sold us because the Xbox didn't sell in all those countries, right? Plus, the price point dropped from $600 all the way down to $200. Even the core system for Xbox was still more expensive at the end of the generation than the PS3 when they did the 2 different models to slim it down. You could get a PS3 for $199 and the core was still $250 at the end of the 360 generation. That's how much success Microsoft had with the 360. That they didn't feel the need that they had to drop it down because people were buying it. Because it was the best place to be, and they were conformed, best online experience, best games, multitude, the best quality, the best performance, all that stuff. So that's the reason why it's controversial, Justin Legarie, right? To like Xbox. Because it's not controversial. It's because you created an audience that is conditioned to hate on something that a lot of them, a big portion, don't even play. A lot of PlayStation guys don't even have Xbox. They don't even play it. The same way there's a couple and there's a few that do have them and do play them and still prefer PlayStation, which that's fine. That's why it's called options. But a bigger majority don't even own Xbox or play it, and just completely skipped it because they said, oh, it sucks, it has no games, it's this, it's that, and have no clue what they were saying. So that's the reason why. It's not so much controversy as you adapt it and condition your audience. You created your bed, now you have to lay on it. You, Ryan McCaffrey, and everybody else that's in the industry that was loving to hate on Xbox, whether they were from Giant Bomb, whether they were from Kotaku, whether they were from game trailers, whatever. or whatever outlet, whatever outlet is out there, Gamer Poor, Eurogamer, Push Square, Repeat, whatever, all those outlets that did nothing but clickbait to hate on Xbox just to get the views, instead of being responsible and having video game journalist integrity. Because even though you're not journalists in the caliber of, let's say, a journalist from an actual TV network reporting real world news, you're a journalist in the gaming space of video games. That's why you get the big interviews with the insiders from Xbox and Nintendo and from Sony. That's why you can sit down and speak to Phil Spencer, Andrew House, and the Reggie Fils-Aimés, or even the Iwatas, rest his soul, when he was alive, right? Because you guys were the big gaming outlets. And you guys know what you did. You did it on purpose because you knew it's what brought you revenue, money to your site. That's how y'all made money. So now, all I can say is, take the heat, keep being genuine, keep being honest, don't back off, don't change your narrative, just have integrity. And your audience is going to have to understand and have to adapt that this is no longer the 2013 generation of Xbox. This is the new Xbox of 2021. And that things are not the same no more. So you have to be a journalist, true and through, not a placater to an agenda. See? It's that easy. And if it's because you're afraid of losing your job, then maybe where you work is not worth working at, and look for a place where it's better and that you could have the opportunity to be yourself and be real and still do what you love while making money. I know it's easier said than done, but that's why there's other outlets, which they're probably all the same, because that's how a lot of them did their jobs last gen, just hating to get those views. Anyway, guys, I wanted to give my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Leave me a thumbs up if you liked the video. Leave me a thumbs down if you didn't like the video. And like I said, please go check out my brother Unlimited Production on his latest video he did on the same topic. Excellent video, great talking points, and his take, right? He deserves the views. He deserves the support because he's a good dude. He's a really good dude, and he's genuine. He's real. Same way like my brother Sega Man and my brother Sega Forever on the All In channel, E-Rock, 100, even New Legal. Go check them all out. They are all positive Xbox. And Talkmaster, he started his channel back on and back up. He has a few videos. Go show Tuck some love and support, because Tuck likes to speak from the heart as well, and he's a good dude, right? So if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. If you like what I do, I appreciate it. If you subscribe, thank you so much, because I know you didn't have to. I know you didn't, but it means the world to me. And if you did, remember, I consider you now part of my family. As well as, if you want to follow me on any social platform, you can follow me on Instagram under C_respect and on Twitter under Hebot Powerful Gamer. Although I am suspended at the moment, I don't know for how long. I still haven't heard from them. If you want to follow me on any of the video game platforms, on Xbox and on the Switch, I'm Hebot8. On the PlayStation, I'm Alfel from Sky. If you guys care to make any donations because you want me to highlight something on my channel, because I do video game reviews and figure reviews and things of that nature, it would be my honor. I would be completely humbled. Just hit me up on a DM and we'll work out the particulars. And if you ever want to help me my channel to help it grow so I can get better content, consistent content, better quality, whatever, there's a way you can do it. It's all down in the description below with my information of my Patreon and my PayPal account. Only if you want to, from the kindness of your heart. It's not obligated. Either way, I still love you guys. It's fine. This is your boy Hebot signing off. I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. Xbox for life, like a sickness that can't be cured. That's my saying. That's my slogan. Don't get triggered, people. It's all in gaming. It's all in good fun. See you then, guys. Bye.